Welcome back to the Live for Life podcast, and I'm still getting you to not jump, which is a bit annoying, actually.
And the jump thing has become a bit of a trademark, so we're going to have to develop a new trademark.
Exactly. But do you know what is a new trademark? This new cap. On the last episode of the Live for Life podcast, everyone, I mean, thousands, tens of thousands, millions of people were sending in, we found a cap that fits your head. So that must be really exciting. So tell us about the backstory about it.
So I previously had 3 Under Armour caps, a black one, a blue one, and a grey one I rarely wore because your skin colour and the colour of the clothing, and also your eye colour as well, is very important to blend or match. And like with you, for example, so you obviously have a massive problem when you wear white. So I have to wear black or navy blue.
Hang on, I don't think that. You're just highlighting that I have a massive problem. But anyway, right, so
I have to wear black or navy blue because it goes with my eye colour and it just blends very, very well. Angus is very good in maroon or red, I think. It's quite good for you often. Anyway, so it's very important. And so trying to find a cap that fits that colour scheme, but more importantly, actually fits my head.
Yeah, we had quite an interesting experience, didn't we,
Yeah.
when we went hat shopping in Manchester, wasn't it?
It was a specific trip up to Manchester just for hat shopping, wasn't it?
Yeah. Honestly, so we were in Harvey Nichols, it was. And for some strange reason, I don't know why, but they'd locked all the hats up, hadn't they? And so
They thought someone was going to... In the north, they thought someone was going to steal the caps.
No, don't be ridiculous. Anyway, they'd really heroed these caps. And part of me was, this will be quite funny, but part of me was like, we need to get him a new hat because all he wears is the Under Armour one. And
you thought it was quite smelly, and you thought that the young
well, it
Under
wasn't
Armour
good.
logo had
so it was
gone
meant to be
off-white.
white and it turned grey. So that told you kind of everything. So we thought, right, let's try this on. Anyway, we went through like Diesel, Ralph Lauren. I think there was even the likes of Louis Vuitton.
But it was a bit of a fashion show, right? So I would go and try the hat on, and then I would walk, and you would film or photo me with the hat on, and then just crease over, laughing hysterically.
Because I just don't understand how like a standard Ralph Lauren hat doesn't fit your head. But it didn't look good, did it? You were like actually on this episode, I'm sure I could share right here the photo.
So bad.
And yeah, sadly, this poor chap had to keep opening the case to get his hat out. Must have tried on a dozen hats, and sadly, there was no success.
I can't actually... I think I got this in Palma, Mallorca, didn't I? I think so.
And was it a gravitas moment? Did it just look at you? Or
Yeah. So I was in a completely... I mean, that's why there's no obvious brand on this one. And a lot of people would say, is it Loro Piano, et cetera, et cetera. It's not. But I went into this shop, which wasn't a G-Dog type of shop. It wasn't Ralph Lauren or Dolce & Gabbana or Dior. And I just saw this hat, and I thought, that looks like it might be a good one. And I did remember Manchester, and there's quite a lot that I thought might be good but weren't. But I thought, I'll try it on. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, wow, I look awesome. And I then took a photo of myself with the selfie camera, and it was confirmed that it would be fine. And so, yeah, so I've been wearing it ever since.
How have I done nearly 120 episodes? The things I have to put up to. It is a good job I'm here to humble you. I mean, thank goodness for that, guys. But that was fantastic. So, very happy. Could there be more journeys to get a hat? Or are we thinking of going down a fully personalised? Now you have the Metcons. Could there actually be a personalised
We'll have to find if there's a specific hat designer
for
who
dogs.
can tailor make G-Dog hats.
Oh, gosh.
And
right.
yeah, we can start doing it. But how are you, Angus? I mean, what have you been up to? Is there any exciting things in your life apart from hats?
Wedding planning is a very, very exciting topic. And
even though your wedding is like 1.5 years away.
Yeah, but you like to get ahead of the game. Well, Izzy does, definitely. So it was actually, you've given me some really good advice for a change, which is quite shocking. You spoke about being the pebble at the bottom of the riverbed, and occasionally you pop up which I have used that quite a few times, and it's
great you
actually
remember
had,
that.
yeah, it's actually had, so patronizing. It's actually had some really positive feedback. So I want to say thank you. So that's been exciting.
Well, we should explain exactly what that means. So I think it's a very important thing for any type of relationship. It might even work with gym relationships as well. So if you are slightly uninterested in the detail, but want your partner, male or female, to know that you appreciate what they're doing, then you remain calm like a stone at the bottom of a fast-flowing river. It's very poetic. And then every now and again, you pop up to the surface and just show your view on something, and they'll probably slap you down and say, no, it's going to be white, or it's going to be red, or we're going to have no flowers on the table, or we're going to have lilies instead of poppies. And then you say, okay, and you pop back down again. But they like the fact that you've consistently shown interest, and yet they don't have to take account of your view. So it works really, really well.
There's your dating advice from G-Dog. I hope you guys take that on board and enjoy. But should we get on with the episode now? Right, exciting episode, because a lot of people need to hear what Angus and the dog have to say about this topic. But it is something I hear time and time again is, I'm not motivated. I'm not a gym person. It's not for me. I hate exercise. And so if you are one of those people that says those quotes, you might not actually be listening to the podcast, so I'll send it your way. But this is how to create momentum from zero. So G-Dog, let's go back to day one, dog. Whether you do day one before Angus or with Angus, I don't mind. But how did you go from zero to hero?
So, I mean, it's true. I am now definitively a hero. But anyway, I think I stopped going to the gym, and instead I began to train. So that is quite an important psychological thing, because if you see yourself as someone who trains as opposed to someone who goes to the gym, it's quite a significant mentality shift. And someone who trains is someone who embodies fitness, exercise, the mentality of longevity and self-development and growth, as opposed to someone who goes to a physical place and does something and then leaves it. So it's a whole change in your mentality. And when you see yourself in a different way, and a lot of people talk about manifesting, et cetera, which may cause a lot of amusement amongst various people, but actually seeing yourself as something different is the first part of adapting and changing.
I think people's biggest problem is the fact that when they're in the gym, they're not confident in what they're actually doing. And if you knew you had a plan in place that was structured and tailored to your goals, that you knew was getting results. Because a lot of people, as you said there, are just exercising and they're going to the gym, they get hot and sweaty. But without having that structure, the plan, the progressive overload, the technique dialed in, having someone to hold you accountable as well as extra support, these things make such a dramatic difference to how you're going to feel about your fitness journey, because there are so many people going in willy-nilly, just doing a random workout routine and then complain about not seeing results. It's because you don't actually know what you're doing. And that is one thing that I find even right now. So I've just started a new training cycle, for example, which I set for my clients. I obviously have myself, and I suddenly feel like a kid in a sweet shop again because it's something new. But I know the reason I've gone onto this new cycle is to push me further forward and make little adaptations, because I'd maxed out my last training cycle to push myself to get even better results than I have now. And that's several years into training. So that doesn't have to go away. But the issue is so many people are in that kind of yo-yo phase where they give it a little dabble, they give it a go. Oh, it's not for me. Oh, I don't have the time. And those excuses just keep coming through, don't they?
But explain what a training cycle is, because before we went on air, you explained this to me before. Mm-hmm. And you said you're in a new training cycle. Now, obviously, I know you've got your own, like everybody should, you have your own trainer. And that gives you accountability, and it gives you a very useful, different relationship away from what you do on a day-to-day basis with your clients. But a training cycle, what does that mean?
So a training cycle could look from 4 to 6 weeks, or it could be 8 weeks, it could be 12 weeks, but you follow a program for a set amount of time. Some people respond really well to kind of a longer term approach. You're very good at that. You're very confident in what you do, and you get really into your routine and really enjoy that side of things. And actually a change up isn't always positive as much for you. There's no right or wrong way to do it. I find, particularly in the early stages, giving people a new training program every 4 to 6 weeks is highly beneficial because it keeps up the variety for them. But I often actually find the more you progress along your fitness journey, it doesn't have to be as frequent because you enjoy the fitness journey so much more. But it's a combination of doing it for motivation, but also being able to push in a different direction ever so slightly, and that can change on training goals. So, for example, I'm obviously doing the High Rocks in Manchester in January. I'm doing it with someone who I won't announce on the podcast yet, and it isn't G-Dog, but someone who I can very much enjoy it with again. But it will mean that I'm just going to do more cardiovascular work. So I'm adapting my training slightly there, but still focusing on the strength and hypertrophy work. So training cycles will come for variety reasons, for enjoyment reasons, but also change of goals. So if someone is really focusing on a strength cycle, for example, they might have a lower rep range. And then if someone wants to focus more on hypertrophy work, then obviously having more reps in there is something that they would do.
So it's interesting because in effect, I have started a new training cycle involuntarily.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you have to adapt. So that then becomes a new training cycle. And also if people travel a lot. So some people will have quite, I guess, random training cycles to some degree, because with clients, they're sending me videos of the setup they have and then I'm adapting it. But you can tweak training cycles in that sense. So you keep the fundamentals the same, but you might be swapping a barbell overhead press to a dumbbell overhead press, for example.
Yeah, so it was interesting in the gym at lunchtime today. So Angus obviously normally does my plan on the app, but now because it's all over the place because of the issue of the blood clot and it's all subject to medical advice, I'm sort of freewheeling it a little bit. I'm using his plan and I'm trying to adapt his plan each day. So what I did today is I actually put it into ChatGPT and I said, this was Angus's plan, which I did yesterday because I could do everything yesterday. There was one small thing which I couldn't do, but basically I could do it yesterday. Today, I knew I had to do another section where I wasn't using my legs. And obviously very frustrating. None of the rest of the plans were non-leg plans. So I put yesterday's plan into ChatGPT. I said, give me another training regime for today, training program for today, which is also not using my legs because of my blood clot, and change it up a bit. Literally, I said that, change it up a bit. And it gave me a great plan. Obviously, it wasn't structured in terms of the right number of weights and stuff like that, but I obviously know what I'm doing, so it's quite easy to adapt it. And it introduced seated cable rows, which I'd never done before. And I wasn't sure, because it was on a machine in the office, a cable machine. I wasn't sure how to do it, and I got very confused about potentially getting a bit of Pilates tangling.
You have done that before, just years ago.
I couldn't remember. Anyway, so I went up to one of the fitness trainers in my office gym, and this is a very good lesson because even me, who've been training for so many years, I'm humble enough to accept that I need advice and help sometimes. So I went up and I said, I've never done, or I can't remember doing a seated cable row. Can you help me with technique? And so she came over, stood next to me. Admittedly, she did say, wow. And she saw me.
This is going so
well. She saw me single arm, so I did single arm instead of two hands at the same time, pulling the cable. And obviously, my form was very good and very slow, and I engaged the correct muscles and my lats and so on, and my biceps and delts obviously looked very good. And it was actually genuinely quite enjoyable changing it up a bit. So I totally get the point about changing a cycle.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely also something that we can discuss off air. So don't you worry, G-Dog, we can do that too. And I think another thing to add to this, and obviously from your example there, is your environment has such a big impact on how you're going to create momentum from zero. If you are surrounding yourself with a bunch of slobs who are constantly going to the pub, who are constantly smoking, who are constantly drinking, and I often actually find all they do is complain about other people. That's something that I have noticed since my friendship groups have developed and the people I surround myself with. You and I never gossip about other people. And I remember in old friendship groups I was in, I would sit at a table and there'd be mates, supposed mates, when a mate went to the loo, be chatting rubbish about that person. And then I made me think, wait, if they're doing that when he goes, they're doing it when I go. And it's simple things like that. And when you try and do something that betters you to become a better version of yourself, whether that's in business or whether that's with social media, whatever it is, and they kind of throw those comments to pull you back, like that's going to be the thing that's going to hold you back more than anything. So very quickly, you need to try and find a way, okay, how am I going to find better people in my life? And I have to say, I've done it myself in the last 6 months, hiring a coach. And I know that's really simple, but social media, I'm yet to follow. So someone I follow who I genuinely think I have a good connection with, who I chat with in the DMs. And that's a really good way of working things out. Have a really good natter with someone in the DMs who you actually like. And if you feel they bounce good energy and they give you the time of the day on a very much free basis. So I have spoken to so many people for a good few months on end before they then signed up for my coaching example, purely because I actually just want to help people up front anyway. And that's something that I really use Instagram for. But if you're kind of worried about a service or should I sign up, just chat to people. And if they won't give you the time of day then it's highly unlikely they'll give you the service.
So true.
So that's something that I found, particularly in the Instagram world, obviously being in it, and I'm sure you're exactly the same. The ones that you message and they kind of just double tap, you're a bit like, I've just sent you a really nice message. I kind of at least wanted you. So that quickly helps you filter it out.
Yeah, I mean, today, bizarre, I was chatting with Ben in Canada. It was like, so Ben is this physiotherapist, used to be a PT in Canada that Angus and I have known for maybe 5 or 6 years now. And we sort of follow each other. He's based in Montreal. And I just messaged him because he was doing some exercises with his newborn son in his home gym. And he was doing, I think, 25 reps of a bench press. And I was like, that's bizarre. Why would you do 25 reps with a relatively low weight on a bench press? And so I just DM'd him. I said, why are you doing this, Ben? Surely you get to 12 reps, fatigue yourself. And if you are not fatigued, then you increase the weights. Why would you go to 25 reps? And then he explained that he had a bet with one of his mates to see how many reps he could do. And this wasn't his normal training. And so it clarified it. And we had a sort of banter about it. And it was all great. So absolutely. And I'm clearly not paying Ben. It's just you find these people on Instagram where you can actually have quite cool training conversations.
Exactly. And that has a big impact. And it's something that if you feel like you're in the wrong environment, you can very quickly get in the right environment. And for example, this podcast might have not been out. I might have already been, but I'm going out to Belfast to see my said trainer in a few weeks' time because we've become really good mates. And that's obviously something that I have with my clients, with you, with the likes of Caleb, with the likes of Ben, with the likes of Sam, like loads of people who are happy. They will love the fact they've just been mentioned on the podcast. But if you aren't becoming mates with your trainer, then that says something as well, in my opinion. I know you've spoken about it, obviously in person with seeing someone twice a week, like who often do you do that with? But with coaching, you know, it shouldn't feel like it's really transactional. Oh, how are you getting on? Like you should talk about stuff and you should really feel like you have a hype man and your mate in your corner.
Yeah, this is, I mean, the podcast is all about maintaining momentum in training, and this is absolutely essential. You can easily maintain momentum in training if you absolutely love the idea of going to train with that person.
Yeah.
Because they're your trainer, they become your mate, or even if you're going with a friend anyway, this becomes your training partner and your accountability partner. So that's absolutely crucial. But another thing I wanted to emphasize is that a lot of people have these very high expectations of themselves when they go to the gym.
Great
and
point.
They need to understand that it's all about consistency, not about total physical exhaustion.
Yeah.
And even today, I was in the gym and I was seeing these people almost like gasping on the ground, exhausted, covered in sweat. And I'm like, that is not sustainable. they can't be going to the gym regularly and just killing themselves like that all the time. And are they going to step out of the gym and say, I'm just so exhausted, I've got to have a rest? And they therefore have an inconsistent training program because they see the gym as a place to absolutely destroy themselves. So I think that is also a major stumbling block for a lot of people going to the gym. So reframing the gym as a place you go to improve your mental health as well as train, and also not think about it as somewhere where you have to do extreme things every day. Today, I was in the gym for actually half an hour because I had a busy day, etc. And I knew that I wasn't able to do a massive sort of leg session, etc. And so I was only in for half an hour, but it's consistency. I still went. I still showed up.
Exactly. It is that simple. Is there anything else you'd like to add there, G-Dog?
I got a lot.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
So I think there's...
I've got a good wrap-up point, so I'll let you take
you're going to have a while before you're going to wrap up.
Have you managed to get some facts about this?
Yeah, loads and loads. So, but before I do that, I also think it's very important when you are going to the gym, how you actually frame that experience in terms of habit stacking. So I will go to the gym not every day, but often, and I will either listen to music. So I have a playlist that I really like. So going to the gym is not only a time to do exercise, but it's actually to listen to music that I like. And that in itself is a motivational force for me. Also, if you're doing a proper training program with weights, then you've got, 2-3 minute rest periods between each set.
Or you 10, 12.
Or 10, 12.
Scrolling and then posting mirror selfies
and so clearly you can read stuff. So we've all got phones with newspapers, with podcasts, with everything. So you can do that. You can go down, particularly if you're doing like incline treadmill walking, with your office email and just clear some office emails. So instead of sitting at your desk at lunchtime and going through emails, take your office iPhone down to the gym and clear emails while you're standing on an incline treadmill, right? So another way to habit stack. Also, think about how you prepare for the gym. So the way to keep motivated to go is when you wake up in the morning, if you're scrambling around to put your trainers in, to put your vest in, to put your T-shirt in, your shorts on, you forget your socks, you think, oh my God, am I going to forget stuff? Have everything packed the night before so you don't need to think twice about it. Also, if you don't have a gym at work, think of a gym that is on the way to the office. So you don't end up having to change your route to go to the gym, that it's just almost awkward not to go to the gym because you're actually walking past it or taking the bus past it or taking the tube past it. So you literally literally feel guilty about not going to the gym because it's part of your lifestyle, it's part of your system. And then also another thing about when you've got a gym buddy or an accountability partner, remember that those people can make training more fun by spotting. So just the action of like working out together and one person watching to make sure you're not dropping your barbell on you and you're laughing and joking about that can also make your training fun. And then also think about, this sounds a bit corny, but immersing yourself in gym and fitness culture. Now, we're obviously doing that with this podcast. And one of the reasons that I enjoy training so much is because we're doing a podcast about it. So it becomes even more part of my life. And also, I'm therefore reading about the gym and fitness. I'm following people on Instagram that are training. I'm looking at other people's training programs. I'm buying Men's Health magazine. I'm constantly Googling about new longevity developments. And the whole culture of fitness becomes part of my life. And therefore, it makes the gym a very pleasurable experience because it's part of my overall being. So that's another aspect of it. And then a lot of people who go to the gym will focus on how they look. I know Angus is going to look at me when I say this, rather than how it makes them feel. So Angus, you're constantly telling me, remember, it's not about what you look like, it's how the gym makes you feel. And how you look will naturally change anyway. But just focus on the fact that it makes you feel awesome going to the gym, makes you feel awesome being strong, and it doesn't matter if you're big G for a while.
That photo will still haunt you forever. I think I sent it to you the other day, and I actually just got a no response, which was rather amusing. But you are absolutely correct. Look, the physical side of things, in terms of changes, it comes hand in hand with the mental side of things. The big thing I'd love people to work on is the comparison element. So if you see someone who supposedly in your head is getting better results than you and you feel inferior, they are completely different genetic makeup, and there is a chance they might be on performance enhancing drugs, and there is likely a chance they've been training for much longer than you, and there is a chance that they might be a different age than you. Sorry, G-Dog. But there are factors that will impact your results. But genetics, we've even done a podcast on genetics, which did turn you slightly, but it's you versus you. And it's something that I've said to you for the whole last 7 years, because the results you make are the best you can make. So don't try and compare to someone else.
And the other thing is reward yourself, right? So you obviously rewarded me with the Metcons, but I was thinking, I haven't actually rewarded you, have I?
No, I don't get anything. Remember, I'm known as the trainer in articles. No one really knows who I am.
But do you reward yourself?
Do I reward myself?
Do you ever think, it was a really good session and I'm going to buy a new Lululemon t-shirt?
No. I'm just extremely grateful for what I have and the training session.
It must be an example of something you've rewarded yourself with, surely.
Maybe I need to.
Yeah. I think is there any? I suppose you could argue the new gym you're a member of, you've been out for 6 months, a year or whatever, you have the steam room and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, interesting. It's not really something I think about because it's just so second nature for me training now. So, yeah, I'm not.
I suppose
sure.
you'd reward yourself with brunch with the dog.
Yeah, exactly. Like I get to have a podcast with you. That's my reward.
Huge reward.
So all the hard work I've done as a coach for 5 years got me a podcast with G-Dog of 2 years now. And that's going to be another 20, 30, 40 years of podcasting, which is a crazy thought, isn't it?
Actually, what else could anyone wish for?
Exactly. So I have it all.
You have the ultimate reward.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No.
You haven't stolen my point that I wanted to say, so I was like, yes. He really went off on one there. I was like, he's going to say the one point that I really want to get across. If you take anything from this podcast, it is the big factor of if you want to succeed on your fitness journey, you need to have an identity shift. It's that simple. You need to stop saying you're not a gym person. You need to stop saying you're unmotivated. You need to stop saying that you don't have the time. Because these are all comfort excuses. And until you completely change that mindset and go from being a unmotivated, lazy, tired, doesn't have the time person to a motivated, disciplined, and just someone who has a positive outlook on the gym and becomes that gym person, nothing will change. You have to become before you become. And my message is you're special, so show yourself.
Ooh, deep.
Rallying cry there, wasn't it, G-Dog? But that was a hell of an episode. I'm fired up after that. Maybe I should reward myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, we are absolutely loving being in the studio, aren't we? It's just awesome. I love, sounds a bit self-obsessed, sounds a bit G-Dog, but I love getting the clips of myself sent through from our amazing editor, Donna. Yeah. She is doing a fantastic job. So thank you, Donna.
Big up, Donna.
Big up, Donna. You are an absolute legend, and you make this podcast possible, and we wouldn't be able to do this without you. But of course, guys, as well, the listeners and the watchers, thank you so much for tuning in. We've got so many exciting things in store over the months to come, and none of this would be possible without you.
Thanks, everyone.
Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.